Turns out Donna Adelson wasn't just complaining inside the Leon County Courthouse in Tallahassee. She also happened to be hoarding beef jerky sticks. You heard me right, hoarding beef jerky sticks and lots of them. Does this portend her future now that she's at her forever home at Homestead Correctional, just south of the city of Miami?
Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning journalist, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. This is the global phenomenon, the show that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime. And tonight, we are going to be taking a look at some of Donna Sue Adelson's jail records that are just trickling out from her time in Leon County in Tallahassee. But now it's a whole different world for Donna Adelson. Since then, she was at the Women's Reception Center in Ocala for well over 4 weeks. And then just this week, transferred to her forever home in Homestead, which is about 43 minutes south in traffic for Harvey to travel to from Miami to Homestead Correctional Facility. No longer a county inmate, now a number in the state institution. So how's it going to be different? This is our second show with some former inmates and a CEO. This one, the last show, did not have a former correctional officer. This one does. And without further ado, let me bring them in here, and they are going to enlighten us on some of these records that we are finding regarding Donna Adelson. And by the way, huge shout out to Susan H. of True Lifestyles. If you don't follow her or subscribe to her YouTube channel, please do. True Lifestyles. She is the one. She works with us behind the scenes and got us some of this information regarding Donna's stay at the Leon County Jail inside of Tallahassee. Here we go. Janice Spears' second visit to Surviving the Survivor, formerly a corrections officer in the great state of Florida. Janice, you served 2 years as well at Lowell, which is really the killer's den of state prison systems for women in the state of Florida. Just tell everyone a little bit about your backstory.
I 20 years with the Department of Corrections. My last two, like you said, were at Lowell. Generally, I worked with the men before that. So, and now I'm a prison reform advocate and a volunteer with Change Comes Now.
Awesome. Change Comes Now. Next up, we've got April in the show. April, I'm just searching for your last name. It got cut off there. April Scales. April Barber Scales. I was talking to April for a second off air. More than 30 years behind bars, just released about 3 years ago. That's an incredible amount of time, and we're glad that you are out. What did you go in for? Exactly how long were you in for? And what's it like now to be on the outside? We'll get more into that too.
I entered the prison system when I was 15 and pregnant. I had a boyfriend at the time who I snuck around with, and he convinced me to do some heinous crimes against the people that raised me. It was supposed to scare them, and as a result, they died as a result. I served 31 and a half years before our governor commuted my sentence about 3.5 years ago.
Wow. And let me ask you, why commute you? Not that he shouldn't have, but I'm curious why you over some of the other inmates. I'm sure others are trying to get commuted.
Yeah, they put a committee in called the Juvenile Sentencing Review Board in North Carolina. And when Governor Cooper was in, this was his last term, it started to review the cases of people that were sentenced under the age of 18 because the brain science shows that the brain fully doesn't develop until the age of 25. And my prison record over time became better. It wasn't the greatest at first, but over time, I had a pretty exemplary record. I had taken advantage of all the educational opportunities and trades that were presented before me. And as a result, I was one of the 3 that were chosen for release.
Wow. I'm glad you're out, and obviously you did your time. Your boyfriend at the time, you said you were 15. 2 questions for you. Is he was he serving? Did he get a similar sentence? Is he out? Is he still in? And what about the baby that you were carrying back then?
So my boyfriend was my son's father at the time. I was actually charged with the actual doing. Oddly enough, they said that he was under my influence and that he had a tendency to do what the women in his life said. But the child is now almost 34 years old, and we do have a wonderful relationship. My son.
With your son, so did the boyfriend just serve a minimum amount of time?
He died in prison. He died about 8 years in. Complications of a health disorder, and he died about 8 years in.
Wow. And so you have a good relationship with your son who's now 34. Wow, that's amazing. Can I ask you his first name?
Colt, Colt.
Wow, incredible. Thank you and welcome to the show. And last but not least here, Holly Coleman, who's been on before as well. Holly is, I believe Holly was a white collar crime. Committed when and how long did you serve?
So I was sentenced in 2015 for 1 count of wire fraud. I worked for a large technological company, and I was sentenced to 21 months. And I served 13 months at a camp, and I served 2 months in the SHU, but the SHU was off-site in county jail. And then I followed that up with 3.5 months of halfway house time. So, and then going through that experience, didn't really know what to do, got my paralegal, went to work for my former criminal defense attorney, and then ultimately worked at the Dallas County Public Defender's Office. So I also do consulting with Wall Street Prison Consultants and Pink Lady Prison Consultants. And I work with a lot of state, all levels, both men and women.
Wow. You guys all know I'm fascinated by prison. One of my biggest fears in life is also prison. Never want to end up there because it seems like an awfully scary place. You see here from the COE, the chief of everything, aka my wife, aka Bugs, aka Ileana. Welcome in, everyone. Special thanks to all these best guests who are here to share their experience, insight, and help us understand Donna's file. Shout out to Space Coast. Shout out to the mods. Shout out to Steve Cohen for always getting us. We don't just say we got the best guests in true crime. We have the best guests in true crime day in and day out. We are doing the work of CNN, Court TV, Fox News, and MS Now, whatever its name is right now. MS then, MS past tense, and we do a better job. So there you go. This is the new media. April, sorry, I get worked up about things like that. I would have got my ass kicked in prison because sometimes I talk and I shouldn't. But what was the biggest, and again, 31 and a half years, I think you said, that's a huge amount of time. What was the year? Because I'm bad with math. What was the year that you went in, and when you came out, what was the hardest adjustment for you?
91 to 2022.
Wow. Yeah, I graduated college in 91, which seems like 7 lifetimes ago. Yeah. So what was the biggest adjustment? I mean, you go in, there's no laptops, there's no Amazon, there's no Google, there's none of that. And you come out, I mean, the world completely changed. You obviously learn a lot while you're in the system and you're in prison, but what was it like to be out and then see all this stuff?
So to be out, I did watch the news and stay as relevant and current as possible. But to be out and be absolutely in the world, it was somewhat of an adjustment, but my mind was always free. My body was always locked up. And I think that was a plus. The biggest adjustment, I think, is just seeing a different type of people. Where you're in, there's a different type. And I think Holly can probably agree that we're just trying to survive and just get through life. And it's a different hustle and bustle on the outside. So it's a different adjustment. You have to flip the hustle and bustle, the game on the inside, and trade it for the hustle and bustle and the game on the outside.
Now, Janice, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out people are going to love. Is that a cat or that's a dog?
It's a dog.
We're very pet friendly, particularly dog friendly. Because I've got what's your pup's name?
That's Wally.
Wally, what's up, Wally? Janice, what I was going to say is, it doesn't take more than a second to talk to April and obviously find out she is incredibly intelligent, articulate, well spoken, attractive, all these things, exactly the opposite of sort of the impression, at least I have in my head, of a hardened criminal. Are there a lot of people who just make really bad mistakes in life, but are, other than that, good, smart people who are serving these extremely long sentences?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There are plenty of people in prison that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were young, made bad mistakes. They might have done something and say they, like Donna, she got a plea for offer for 10 years and she didn't take it. So these are now her consequences. There are a lot of people in prison that are there for a much longer time because they did not take the plea. People think that, it's the justice system and it's supposed to be just, but there's a reason why Lady Justice is blind. Okay. There's so many times we have, especially I notice with women, and especially younger women, that we have so many that come in our system. And so many that are there have been there for a very long time. I'm talking 20 years. And they've completely reformed and no one's checking to see, because they have this guideline, they're maxed out on the time that they could gain to go home. So there's no more gain time. And they're just sitting and waiting and trying to take advantage of whatever they can keep themselves busy with,
Yeah.
20 years, that's a long time. 10 years, that's a long time. 5. Imagine 5 years of your life.
Yeah.
Kiss it goodbye. And every day of your life, someone's talking to you like you are less than. Always less than.
Yeah. And Janice, by the way, was a corrections officer at Lowell, which is, again, just the worst women's facility. We'll ask her about the difference between it and Homestead. But after 2 years, she left with PTSD. So also the corrections officers, the COs, have a really hard time as well. It is not an easy place to live in or work in. But Holly, you heard, April went in when she was just 15 years old. That almost, and you see here, I would say bad choices, not bad mistakes. She obviously made some bad choices back in the day, who she was running with, what she did. What would your advice be, to young people who do stupid things, for lack of a better way to say it, who could face serious time? Like, what is your advice to younger people when you speak to them?
And we've actually had that even in my current role, is we go in and we talk to youth to tell them, literally put the people, we bring in incarcerated people in front of them to talk with them, to tell them this is what will happen, and put them through what a normal day or a normal processing being booked in, what it would look like in a prosecution, what your life is going to look like. It's not that you just are going to do a certain amount of time. It's going to be through the rest of your life, for the fact that you're going to have supervised release, you're going to have some type of probation, you're going to have some type of parole, you're going to have a hard time getting housing, a job, a car, working, anything. So it's to educate them, to show them what is going to happen, not just verbally, just tell them on paper or talk with them in a small setting. So it's to show them what the ultimate, what's going to happen. Put it together in a picture for them.
Yeah, I hear you. Uncle Sags, good to see you as well. April, to you, I don't want to pry too much, and you don't have to answer, but I'm just curious, not specifically, but where are you today? Are you in some sort of halfway house? Are you on your own? Are you working? Was it really hard to get a job? What's your current situation?
No, I'm a certified peer support specialist. I work at a recovery center. I'm in North Carolina still. I work with people that are in recovery from mental health and substance use disorder. My specific caseload are those who are justice involved. So I actually go into the jails and meet my clients where they are and try to get them to engage in treatment, which in turn will reduce or lessen their jail and or prison time.
By the way, a lot of people, because Drina was supposed to be on the last show. Her mother is the one who's been communicating with Steve and the COE. She had a very bad cold, is what we were told, with a fever, and that's why she couldn't. And it is going around the great state of Florida, as it is everywhere. So she couldn't make it. We're going to get her back on, and the COE's got an Amazon gift list for her. We were very straightforward with her because she's open about having an addiction problem. April, this is a woman that has been arrested 27 times, and she was Donna's jailhouse daughter. She has a serious addiction problem, still does, and she's trying to stay out. A beautiful woman, smart, articulate. Again, I'm hoping maybe we can introduce you to her offline. But I asked Holly about her advice to younger people. Drina is a little bit older, I think in her 40s, with children, and she can't seem to stay out of trouble. What's your advice to her?
You have to address the initial trauma. There's something that's happened in her life that's the catalyst to her addiction.
Yeah. So by the way, her I didn't mean to cut you off, but she told us briefly, and I don't want to air all her dirty laundry, but she was on the show talking about it, that her own father was a heroin abuser. And that's how I think that was the influence. Some of us have parents that are good role models, others have bad role models, but I think that certainly wasn't, her dad wasn't the role model that she needed. Let's put it that way.
Right. And she saw that as acceptable behavior. So somewhere down the line, she just lost herself. So it's important that she gets the help for that trauma, which will help her and will help the relationship that she has with her children. Because it's not just her that's suffering. Her children and the people in her life are suffering in addition to her addiction. So yeah, substance use disorder is a disease. It needs to be treated just like you would a cold. You're going to have to seek special help to get rid of that.
For sure. It's a constant battle. I know she's tight with her mom. I just don't know what role her mother has in her life, other than being close. I don't know what kind of support system she has, but maybe we'll be able to put you, April, in touch with her after the fact. Now, we got a lot of records. I'm going to start to go through them here, but the one that stood out to me, Janice, Donna, while at the Tallahassee jail, which is in Leon County, apparently was hoarding bully sticks. She had something like 19 bully sticks. She did complain in a public court filing that she was putting on a ton of weight because she wasn't eating any protein. She wasn't getting protein. And, even weightlifters, beef sticks. Did I say bully is what my dog has? I'm sorry. That's probably why Janice looked at me. Beef. And I don't even want to explain what bully sticks are, but Fred and Ethel love them. But these are beef sticks, like beef jerky sticks. So I knew that was going to happen. But Janice, I have a feeling she was eating these beef sticks because it's kind of the only protein she can get. Janice, will she be able to hoard beef jerky sticks in her state home now at Homestead?
No, no, she's not going to be able to hoard anything in her she's going to get a little locker. It looks like a foot locker, like it would be in the military. And her things will go in there. Everything that you own goes into one box. So,
and where does that box live? Where is that? Is it in a hallway? Where's that box?
Beside your bed or at the end of your bed.
And is there a physical lock on it that she has for her own box?
They have combination locks to lock it up, but they break into those too. I mean, if they really want to get into your stuff, they're going to get into your stuff.
You mean the COs or the inmates or both?
Both.
Okay.
The COs have a key that they could utilize.
Oh.
But like a combination lock, you just kick it the right way and it just pops open. So
These shows are just everyone is, we all watch TV. A lot of times, I don't know exactly why, but prisons are glamorized when they're not too glamorous. And yeah, what about that, April? You just shook your head. Do you have an issue with that? Prisons always seem to be glamorized, like a cool place, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, they do really glamorize, like people sit around and they watch TV and they have all these luxurious meals. Yes, she probably is hoarding a lot of beef sticks, but where she is now, you're only allowed a certain amount of items. You can only have two of each. I'm not sure about Florida, but North Carolina, you can have one and a backup. That's all. So anything outside of that is going to be considered contraband, which will be an infraction, which will send her to the hole, segregation, however you want to phrase it, which will extend her time.
Wow. So, anything more than two, whether it's a candy bar or
So
what, yeah,
whatever.
if you have more than two, so she'll be in trouble for that.
Mhm.
The other thing, Holly, that is I don't know, that is eerie about this is absolutely everything is documented is the word I'm looking for. So this is small property inventory. You're looking at this
Mhm.
from August of this past summer when Donna was in Leon County Jail. 19 beef sticks, a legal pad, hair ties, thermals, mask. I mean, what about the fact that just everything in your life, there's no privacy anymore, right,
There's
Holly?
none. It's been stripped. It's literally been stripped. So that's the shock number one when you enter this. And it's done for a purpose. They have to document it, but it feels very invasive. You're just not used to that. They literally have to document. And if you don't know the rules, haven't read the rules, you're going to quickly learn the rules. Again, it's going to be considered contraband if you have too many items. And yeah, then the infraction comes, and then
Yeah.
misery.
So April, let's kind of pivot into Donna here. That's the focus. We've been doing this story for a lot of years. She will never get out, in my opinion. Her appeals are not going to work. She's going to be 76 years old in February, and she's serving now a life sentence at this age. By the way, I didn't know this. Someone sent me this, and kudos to whoever that person is. There's an eerily similar case from Miami from 1986. This was a woman, basically housewife back then, from a very affluent family. The husband was a very successful real estate developer. I want to say her name was Nancy Cohen. I want to say that's her name. I have to double check it. But she put a hit out on her own husband, and she's been serving time since 1986. They had a parole board hearing. I just thought it was really interesting. The parallels, obviously Donna put a hit out on her son-in-law, but this was a woman who put a hit out on her husband, and she's at Homestead. So there's a good chance that the two of them, if her name is Nancy Cohen, and I have to double check it, will likely end up being friends with Donna Adelson. She's now in her mid-70s as well. But April, to you, what's going to be the biggest? I mean, there's three transitions here. Obviously, from her life, she came from a very privileged background. Her husband is a very wealthy dentist, has this big dental practice. They own real estate. The son's driving a Ferrari. So you go from that life to jail life, awaiting trial, and then you get convicted. What's the shock factor? What is going to be the biggest difference going from, that life of luxury to jail to now state prison in Florida?
Well, she's definitely going from eating steak to eating ramen noodles. So the fact that she's putting on weight, I mean, she is running out of just things to eat that would pacify anything. You're around people. She's around people that are have substance use disorder, as opposed to being around wealthier or more civilized, for lack of better words, people. So now she's thrown in to a place where she can't get away from the people that she would probably normally shy away from or shun away from. Mm-hmm. So she's going to have to be around those people, and those people are going to say, well, your money didn't do you any good. I mean, look what happened. You still end up in the same spot because, like I said, we watch TV, we read the newspaper. We knew that someone like her was coming. And some people are, going to try to buddy up to try to get her money. And some people might even try to, get an altercation just to prove a point.
And that's another inmate told us that she will likely be beaten up in the first few weeks because her attitude. Holly, what do you think of that? Do you think that there's a
I do.
chance?
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I think, yeah, I think just with her, the way her demeanor is, I mean, she's such a narcissist. They're not going to take kindly to any of that. She's going to try and manipulate, be performative, and they're going to see right through that right away. I do see somebody.
Yeah.
She was already threatened at county, so this is a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah, and she was complaining about a lot of things, which we'll get into. It's not every day you meet someone who served 31 years. So if I go a little heavy with April,
Yeah.
please forgive me, everyone, including the panelists. But I'm fascinated by that. By the way, April, have you forgiven yourself? I mean, obviously, you committed what you described as heinous crimes when you were just 15. Did you have to get to a point where you forgave yourself for what you did to other humans? How do you do that?
Yes. You just deal with it. You look yourself in the mirror and you realize that you made a mistake, that you made not even a mistake, that you made a bad choice, that you were put in a position where your back was against the wall. Once again, the brain science shows that the brain was not fully developed. You're very influential when you're a teenager. And I have to be accountable for my actions, but I have to take other things into consideration as well.
Fascinating to me. Really interesting. What's the biggest difference between your 15-year-old self, and I won't even ask your age now,
and my 50? You can my 15 and my 50-year-old self.
Yeah,
yes,
you look great. What's the biggest difference?
Hindsight. Hindsight. You just realize, you look back and see where you were. You look at the mistakes that you made, and clearly you wouldn't make the same ones in the next phase of your life. Things would be totally different. You think differently. You move differently. You breathe differently.
Yeah. Wow. Janice, so let's take a look at some of these records. By the way, just a quick note, the COE and I, you guys all know Tim Jansen because you all follow this story if you're here right now. Tim's daughter is getting married. The COE and I are headed up in the early morning tomorrow to Tallahassee to attend the wedding. So we've got what could be the final, that will be the final day of court for Brian Walsh tomorrow. And Joe Patuto will be here at 8:45 a.m. If I can hop on once I get to Tallahassee, I might. I also might not, because maybe I'll have a drink or two and hang out. But the big news is Karm, my 86-year-old mom, hosts a show with me, April. Holly, you know that. So Grandma is coming over tonight. She tried to fight me on this, but she's babysitting this weekend. And I told her, do not drive. She still drives herself everywhere, but I don't want my kids rolling around Miami in her Bentley. No, she doesn't have a Bentley. By the way, when I was a little kid, I told Karm I was going to get her a pink Rolls Royce one day. I don't know why I was fixated on that at the age of 8. And I finally I was at CVS the other day and I saw a little toy pink Lamborghini and I gave it to Karm, and it is now sitting in her living room. So she's got a pink Lamborghini. She thinks I'm a complete idiot, but she's babysitting this weekend. And then we're back for 2 weeks before we take a little break for the holidays. But Janice, now that I've told everyone my life story, 13 big cookies. I love, I'm addicted to Reese's peanut butter cups, but Reese's bars, box of crackers. Look at her hoarding here. 15 packs of tuna, 3 soups, 7 bags of trail mix, 5 Lay's potato chips, and hot sauce. Donna had this. Again, the date is August 14th. Number one, Janice, what is going on with her food addiction? And Snickers. She did say, and I'm not trying to body shame her, she said in court that she had put on a third of her body weight. She was very lean on the outside. But apparently she's packing on the pounds. Is it because she's eating all this junk? And how is she able to get all of this junk into county jail? But apparently it ain't going to happen at Homestead.
No, she'll end up getting items at Homestead. But you confuse me when you change the thing.
Sorry.
All the food that they get is basically soy product, and it's not good food. And they feed them way early in the day something like 4 o'clock. So by late night, they're hungry. And imagine that you had to eat out of a convenience store, and not one of the nice ones we have now where they have salad and this and that. Just the basic chips and candy and cookies and maybe some tuna fish in an envelope, some crackers, a pickle at the most. That's it. There's nothing. There's no healthy option. There's no getting a salad. There's no getting any fresh fruit unless it's given to you when you go to eat. And by the way, they get 15 minutes to consume their food and get out. And sometimes they're rushed even faster.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be allowed 15 minutes. 15 minutes to eat your dinner and then you're gone. You got to get up and leave.
Wow.
You don't get up and leave. That'll be a bit. I'm sure that was a big eye opener for her. Being kicked out of a place. You got to get up. You got to go. I'm not done eating. Oh, well, bye.
Yeah. Janice, did you ever work? I know you worked at a lot of facilities. Did you ever work at Homestead?
No, I did not work at Homestead.
But tell us the reputation. I mean, you were at Lowell, which is really the infamous one. Not that Homestead is much better, but what is the reputation for Homestead? Apparently, there's a lot of female lifers there. There's also a male campus. But what do you know about Homestead compared to, let's say, Lowell?
I know that the inmates would say, especially the ones that have been in the system for a long time, they would rather be around the lifers, especially if they are a lifer, than to be in a facility where there's constantly these young kids coming in. And then you kind of have a push and pull for who's in charge in their dorm. There's always somebody that rules the dorm they live in. So she's got a lot of adjustment to do, a lot.
Yeah, April, let's pick that up. So your first days were, I mean, you're 15 and now you're 50. What are Donna's first days? And they're this week, literally. I think she got transported to Homestead on Tuesday. She was at the Women's Reception Center. Walk us through what this transition is going to be like when she walks in there. And also, people don't realize, I was just out for a big sentencing hearing, and I got a tour of a maximum security prison for Brian Koberger out in Idaho. But, the smell was very potent. The noise was loud. What's it in certain areas? But what are the first days going to be like for Donna Adelson in this facility?
So the first days are a lot of intake type stuff. She's going to go be assessed. She's going to go to clothes house, get secondhand clothes. She's going to have to see a case manager. She's going to have to work. In North Carolina, back then they gave you an option. They gave you 3 choices. You work, let's say, kitchen, groundskeeper, maybe an option to go to school, but you had to pick something. You had to work. So she's going to have to work.
Even at 75.
Yeah.
Unless she has a clear medical reason why she cannot work, she will work. And our options were either 40 cents, 70 cents, or $1 max. And the dollar jobs were very coveted. So she's not someone who's probably gonna, they're not going to give her any special treatment just because. So she'll probably have to clean a toilet for 40 cents a day.
What's a dollar job? $1 an hour?
Dollar job would be maybe a cook in the kitchen, something like that.
And did you have a prison job, April? What did you do?
My last prison job. Let me see. I worked in the gym some. I took a lot of classes. My option was to try to go to school as much as I could. But I worked at the gym. I would try to work outside. Anything that would keep me outside. I didn't care how cold or how rainy it was. Anything that I would pick up trash outside for 70 cents a day before I would be in a kitchen. Because when you have a long time, she has a life sentence. So she is not going to get gain time. Your gain time, she's doing day for day. So people that work in the kitchen can get the gain time and work the sentences down. That's not going to be an option for her. They don't typically put people in the kitchen that have a life sentence. But if she gets a case manager that, you know, has a vendetta against her, then they're going to stick her with the hardest job just because.
Let me ask you, I assume that you have friends, obviously, that are still in there. You probably had from when you went in. How hard was it? You know, that's you build a whole life in there. It's a whole world. There had to be a part of you. If you see Shawshank Redemption, there's a character who can't live on the outside.
Yeah.
Was there a part of you that it was hard to leave?
No, no, absolutely not. There was absolutely no aspect that I had a problem with leaving behind. I did not want to be cliche and carry out a whole bunch of stuff. We call our stuff white bags. When you transfer from prison to prison, you have 3 white bags and you put your whole life. If it's something that you want to hang on to, a blanket that's crocheted, a bunch of pictures, your legal stuff, you have 3 white bags. I came out with 1 white bag, but that was only pictures and legal stuff. Everything else I left right back there in prison in North Carolina.
Can I ask you, like, on that day that you're released, who picked you up and where do you go? It's got to be the weirdest feeling.
No, you know, any place other than in there is not weird. That's weird. That's not a normal life to live. It's not a life. It's full of chaos. It's full of noise. It's got starchy food. Of course, she's got 15 boxes of crackers and noodles and whatever, because the food is processed and made by another prison, and you call the meat mystery meat. But back to my day out, my son and family members, the advocates that had stood behind me to help propel my release, is who picked me up. So I went to stay with one of them for a few months, and then I found a place of my own and lived independently after that.
Wow. Is there a fear that you're going to get yourself in trouble for anything, like, you know, even like a speeding ticket or something, and you're going to get back in trouble? Like, do you have some kind of irrational fear about getting in trouble?
So more so for the advocates, because I was in so long, you don't know what you don't know. When I got out, I was allowed to vote the year that I got out. The second year, the Republicans had rescinded that, and you had to be completely off parole or probation. So the second year, I could not vote, but because a lot of my advocates are lawyers that will be behind my case, they wanted to make sure that I could vote, that I could do what normal people had the right to do, even though the paper, when you leave, it says all rights are restored. You know, they're really not. So, you know, you don't read the fine print, and that's what could hem you up. So it was more the ones that knew what could happen that were more worried than me. I didn't know what I needed to be worried about.
Wow. It's so interesting. We're going to get to this question right now with Holly from a Duchess. Is it normal for inmates to be, so she was at this reception center in Ocala for over 4 weeks, so they want to know if it's normal. What's the average time? Before we get to that, if you don't know Ned Smith, now you do. She's got a big bun on top of her head. We joke about that. She doesn't really. Maybe she does, and I have no idea. And I've been joking, making fun of the bun, and she actually has a bun. I wonder if Joel knows what a bully stick is made of. Obviously, late to the show, Ned, we discussed this, and both Fred and Ethel are unabashed about their love for bully sticks. If you don't know what a bully stick is made of, you can Google it. You can chat GPT it. I won't get into it. But Holly, how long? What do they do in the reception area for these people?
Oh, so this is not unusual. 4 weeks was nothing new. It's, you know, they're still trying to process the paperwork, do the designation. There's a scoring, from what I understand, it's scoring. And they look at the, you know, again, she's a lifer, so looking at open availability, where she's going to be fitting in, keeping her closer to her home. That's also something that they do. So 4 weeks is not unusual. It can be longer. It can be longer before they even transfer. Yeah. And they also, when they do transfers, they don't just transfer 1, 2. They do take more women that are going to be going to that facility as well.
Alaska's in the house. I feel like a lot of fugitives. No offense to ERP, whatever that is, but run off. Same with Florida. A lot of fugitives run off to the Keys. Donna Adelson back in Miami-Dade. Janice, you have this experience from kind of the flip side. So walk us through Donna's first days the way April did. What are these first days going to be like for her from your perspective? I mean, you have to meet these people. She's obviously, I think, going to be scared. What are you looking for when you have a brand new high profile inmate?
Her first days at Homestead?
Yes.
She's probably having a rough time right now.
That's an understatement, I think. If you ever saw her transport to jail, she was losing her mind then. So I have a feeling it's a lot worse now.
Well, she's in a 2-man cell. So she has a bunkie. She will be assigned a job. But in Florida, they don't pay them unless they work for Pride Industries. And that is generally making uniforms or products like furniture. I think they make brooms, different stuff like that. So, but she won't get a paying job at first. She's probably going to end up cleaning toilets. And it doesn't matter what age she is. As long as she's physically able and medical hasn't given her a pass to limited activity, she will have a job.
And Janice, how long in one day can you clean toilets for?
Well, you work 8 hours, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I usually work a little more, I think, but Karm doesn't think I work enough. But
if they really wanted to, they could keep them inside cleaning all day long. But generally, they clean, and then the officer inspects the area, makes sure everything's okay, and they have the rest of the day to spend out on the yard in a segregated area. Now, Homestead, I don't know how they do their recreation. She might be in what looks like a dog run, walking back and forth for her recreation. So, yeah.
Wow. We're looking at some other documents. Again, this is from Susan at True Lifestyles. This is a classification card here. Janice, I'll have you come back and explain it since you're the one filling a lot of this out. Current charges, you see that she's listed as violent. She's got complaints. Non-combative is listed. It says definitely not at risk for, I don't know what that is. For what?
Prison Rape Elimination Act.
Explain.
I don't know why someone would write that on a piece of paper. Definitely not at risk for a Prison Rape Elimination Act. Wow.
What does that mean? I'm lost. I know I'm slow, but what does that mean?
Exactly, I think what it sounds like. I think they're saying that she's not at risk for having been assaulted sexually at her future facility or at the facility that she was at.
Yeah.
So she's placed in protective custody due to current changes per administration.
Charges.
Okay. Thank you. So, she probably ran her mouth too much in the dormitory and put herself as being a target. And therefore, it was probably best for them to put her in segregation for her own safety.
Yeah, and you see here's a segregation medical notification sheet done at 17:30 hours. Inmate placed in a pod. Reason for segregation: she's placed in PC due to high-profile case. What about that, April? Are all the inmates, when she gets in there, do they already know who she is because she's been all over the news?
The ones that watch the news, yes, but she's in there because she has a long time. She's in what's called LTA, long-term adjustment. So she is in protective custody for her own safety. But LTA they put you in segregation when you have a long time because they want you to get used to serving that sentence. So she could be there up to 6 months in that cell by herself.
That's crazy. So we're looking at a telephone sheet. I've been given the opportunity to use a telephone and chose to use a telephone. And then you look at this. This is a call log. 23 of these calls. This is on one day back in November. 23 calls are to Harvey. They speak every single day. And then that yellow or that orange line you see there, I guess yellow is the writing and orange is the other. I'm pretty good with colors. But that one, the call has been blocked because they were attempting a three-way call between Donna, Harvey, and a third party. Back to, well, Holly, let me come to you. The Adelsons are all huge talkers. Is she going to have basically unlimited time to sit there and talk to Harvey on her tablet in prison?
No.
Mm.
There will be limitations on it. Yes. No, she will not be able to do that. So
yeah, I mean, Janice, to you, what's the deal with calls? I mean, I always see in the movies, you're behind or you're in line in like the hallway on a payphone while other inmates are yelling at you. Is that what it's like? Or do you have a tablet now? And who's watching you to make sure you're not on the phone all day on that tablet?
You're not, the tablet isn't the phone. The phone is separate.
Okay.
And generally there's 4 phones and they have to stand in line and wait for the phone. They get 15 minutes on the phone. During the time that they're on the phone, like when they three-way call, they disconnect the call and she'll probably end up getting a write up for having a three-way call. If she's inappropriate on the phone, like her and Harvey can't be talking about their personal business, personal business. So
like,
there's certain things.
When you say personal business, is that like sexual business? Okay. Yeah, sexual. Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah, there's no such thing as phone sex in prison. And you have a bunch of other people around you. So for her to be on the phone with him, that means she is on that phone that amount of time and she's talking up a storm and all the inmates around her are listening. So usually the people incarcerated, when they get on the phone, they try to not give out too much information. They don't want to become vulnerable to the people around them and talk about something that might be a sensitive subject. Because women are catty. They will use anything and everything against you. They will talk to you horrible. And from my understanding and everything that I've heard about Donna, she's extremely entitled and arrogant. And she is going to end up staying in protective custody for a really long time.
And Janice, explain what I mean. I know we've heard the phrase. Does that mean? So when I went out to Idaho, there was a block where I went in, and I thought everyone was on the yard. And the warden told me, he was giving me the tour with some other media people, and he said, "No, they're all in their cells. This is what they do all day. They're just in their cells. They eat in there. They do everything in there." It was eerie because you could hear like a pin drop in there. They were just in there, kind of wasting away. Is that where she's going to be, like basically housed in a cell all day?
Yeah, all day, unless they take her out to get a shower or some recreation, or they take them out sometimes to have day room time where they can sit and play a game, maybe cards if they have them, or watch a television, or just sit and talk to other people. At the most, she'll have, if she's in protective custody, they probably won't have her with a cellmate. And
does that mean she won't work either? Like she'll just sit in a cell all day? Like if she's in
she will sit in that cell all day long. All day. And she's not going to be talking to Harvey every other minute. Those phone calls have to be approved, and the officers have to go get you. They have to handcuff you and put waist chains and leg irons on you to take you out of your cell. So, and then they walk you down to the phone and you get your 15-minute phone call and then it's over. But it's at their leisure when they want to, not when you want to. So if you want to tell the CO that grandma's going to be home only at 7 p.m., will she be able to answer the phone? They don't care. They don't care. They're going to use the phone whenever they allow them to use the phone.
This is probably a bad idea for me to do this show right now, because I could lose my mind hearing these stories. This is April. Like when I think of Donna now, we've all had like these dreams that you wake up and you like you just can't escape the dream. It was so scary. You think it was real. But she's actually this is her reality now. I guess early on, I didn't know if you'll recall this going back 31 years, but would you wake up and I guess it sounds like you were younger and, not as, with it as you are today, but would you wake up and just be in disbelief that this was your life, but there's no, figuratively and literally, there's no escape. Like, how does Donna deal with that? You can't run to your mom, which is what I would do. You can't run to your husband. You can't run to your siblings. There's no one in there that will help you. You're just stuck. How frightening is that?
She's gonna have to deal with her reality. I mean, she's gonna have to come to grips with this is where she is. This is now her life, and it doesn't sound like her appeals are gonna. I mean, appeals take a long time. She's already in her 70s. I mean, if she were to get any type of relief, I mean, that could be years down the road. But so she just have to deal with. She's gonna have to sit with her thoughts, most definitely.
Wow, that is not a place that I ever want to be, sitting with my thoughts. But I have a feeling Donna will deal with it. My mother is a licensed therapist. She thinks that Donna will adjust on the inside, that she'll be a manipulator, she'll run the show, she'll be doing that. Holly, do you agree with that? And by the way, True Crime in a Minute wants to know how soon. Holly, so first let's tackle that. Will Donna get with it and sort of, be the prison mom for wherever she is in that whatever section? Will she be running the show after the initial shock? Holly,
I think she's going to be just really polite, manipulative, sitting back at first, kind of try and show the staff that she's this grandma type of person, that she was wronged, and that she'll do what she needs, be instructed to do. But I really feel that she will manipulate. It's still an act. She is a true narcissistic person. So there is and to take away being in the spotlight or being the center of attention, that will be damning to her. So she's going to grope onto other people. So yes, down the road, I think she might become a grandmotherly mom. Perhaps it's going to be somebody she's going to use up. And it's going to be somebody that, of course, I think probably had their own trauma and, are seeking the attention, but she's going to use that up. She's just, again, very performative. So I do see the manipulation. I do not see on the reality part for her thinking this is the rest of her life. I think she's going to create or try and manipulate every single thing from here on out, period.
Thank you. Janice, Patriotic is asking if she gets in trouble, does that become public? Bless you. Does that become public record?
No.
Janet, will we know if she's getting in trouble?
No, that's not public record.
Okay.
The only way that you're going to know is if somebody informs you from the inside. Like you said earlier, they have their tablets. They can write on those to people because they no longer get physical mail. If you send them physical mail, you have to send it to an address in Tallahassee. They scan it into the system and they can view it on their tablet or on a kiosk somewhere in their dorm. So, I was looking that will she have visitors? I doubt. Isn't Harvey being charged? Aren't they looking at him?
They're looking at him, but
okay. While they're looking at him, he's not coming in. No.
Yeah.
Really. Her daughter either.
Yeah, Wendy is pun intended, MIA in MIA. She's definitely I don't think coming in. But Janice, why will Harvey stay away? Just doesn't want to set foot in a place where he can be recorded, or he can. I mean, is he afraid that
No,
he's going to end
the
up?
facility won't allow him in.
Oh, they won't. The facility.
No, you have to apply on an application to visit an inmate, to be a visitor, and it's only Saturday and Sunday and some holidays that you could go in and see them. I believe it's from 9 to 3. But he's not going to get that option, most likely, not in Florida. They're not going to approve him until they know that he's been through the system and he's not getting charged.
So the question is,
and they have a monitoring system in Florida now too, that when you go in and you have a fingerprint and they ID you when you're going to visit, it shows if you have any charges against you now, something being held against you. And if you have anything on record, they won't allow you in.
Wow. April, how about you? I mean, like 31 years in, did you have visitors at the beginning, less at the end? What was it like for you? How often would you get visitors, April?
I would rarely get visits, probably the first 20 years. And then I might see a family member here and there. I had some half sisters that lived in the state. I would get a visit here and there, but the person that kept my son, for the most part, I saw him until he got to be around teenager, and then she started having issues of her own, and so there was a period of time where I didn't get to see him. And then when he became 18, then I got to see him on a regular basis because he came on his own.
You see here, I don't know if Sarah Howard has experience or looked it up, but visitation is no less than 1 hour twice a month, 1 day every 2 weeks. April, I don't want to, you talked about phone sex, which scared me with Donna, but also no conjugal visits, right? I mean, she's not getting.
No, but in North Carolina now, the thing with whoever asked about seeing if she got an infraction, well, you can see that on our website.
Oh, you can. Oh, that's it. I mean, I thought it would be public record, but I'm going to defer to Janice on that.
Here, yeah.
In Texas, it's the same way. It's the same way. You can see in Texas, but
you can. Well, yes. Texas and Florida are basically twin brothers or twin sisters, I guess. But
Florida, you can see her charges, like what she was charged with, her date of birth, what county she was charged, what jail she was in. But you're not going to see if she gets a corrective consultation for doing something wrong, or if she goes to confinement for doing something wrong. You're not going to see any of that.
Yeah. By the way, I want to get all STS Nation. I know you guys have questions. I'm at the bottom of the chat now. If you have questions, please triple Qs. You've got someone in April who served over 31 years behind bars. You have Janice, who worked in the system for over 20 years, and Holly, who served time as well. So really interesting guests, and feel free to put in questions. The first question, Janice, to you is, when you do get a visit, is it in person or through glass in state prison?
Being that she's in protective custody, they could do it through glass. If you are in confinement, you will not get a visit. If you've done something wrong and they're punishing you for your 30, 60, 90 days, you don't get a visit. So even being in protective custody, she's got to get an approval to have a visit, and then they take her up in shackles. And if they leave her in restraints, if it's over through glass, but if she's going to go into the visiting park, which is highly unlikely, again, because they're protective custodying her. But when she does come out, if she goes in the visiting park, she will be strip searched, and then they take them into the visiting park and they assign them a place to sit with their loved one, so they know exactly where they're supposed to go, and then they'll have rules that they have to abide by.
Done Gone, thank you so much for the super chat, very generous, I appreciate it. And then you've got a question here from KTH. Did prisons have Holly, what about this? Do prisons have care packages that inmates could be sent? In other words, if you wanted to send Donna gifts for Hanukkah this holiday season. Can you send her? Is she able to receive a box, like a box full of dreidels? Is that
So
allowable?
I'll answer for the federal system where I was at. And no, there was no care packages whatsoever.
Mm.
And you could books from Amazon only, better coming from the manufacturer, no hardbound books, obviously. And so no care packages, no brownies, no clothes, no nothing. And that was my experience at county jail as well, obviously.
Mm. April, let's talk. I mean, the holidays are coming up. We just had Thanksgiving. That's a shot at Donna right there. We had Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's, all coming up right now. What is that like behind bars in state prison? What is Donna's experience going to be like with that?
She can have a care package about 4 times a year, but it has to come straight from the vendor to her, which there are other prisons who pick out, you send a form out, you want to check off coffee, cookies or whatever. She checks it off. She sends it out to someone. They pay for it and send it, but it goes into a prison that actually fills those orders and it's shipped to the other prisons. But the holidays are sad, lonely. A lot of people get depressed. I mean, a lot of people don't even get out of the bed during holidays because it is just so overwhelming for them. Most prisons try to give you a meal that's a little better than usual, but it's just a very sad and dreary time. People miss their families, and some families have long gone and forgotten about them that's been in there. And a lot of people, the state families, the state moms and, families will try to put something together to try to keep the spirits up. But it's a very dismal place around the holidays.
Yeah, I'm afraid to ask you this, and you don't have to answer, but is there sort of a singular worst thing that you saw that you can't unsee while you did your time? Was there one thing or maybe a couple things that you saw, whether it was a beating or something else that really like stuck with you?
I can't say that anything was any worse than. There were some things that happened, but not that I can't unsee it. It happened. It existed. I've processed it. And, it's just part of the past. I use that to help the people in my life now, especially those that they're on my caseload that I assist with on their recovery journey. Yeah. So there's not anything specifically that I can't unsee. No.
And your son, Colt, I don't want to pry too much, but is he like active member of society? Is he working? Is he doing good stuff?
Colt graduated college, went into the Marine. So he went to be a Marine. He he currently trains the Air Force.
Wow. Thank you for his service. Please tell him. You should be you got to be really proud, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Janice, to you, is it possible to keep to yourself and do the time without getting into trouble? And I guess specifically about Donna here. Or is she, I guess, high profile enough that she is going to be extorted or harassed? Can she go in there, in other words, and just keep her head down and try to get away unscathed until that time comes where she exits the prison in a box, I guess?
Well, if she's in protective custody, then it's gone around that she is a problem inmate. With the staff, she's going to have an issue. Now, if she gets out of protective custody, maybe it will be a little better, but keeping her head down, she'd really have to, what do you want to be seen and not heard? It's better when the officers don't know your name. Just do your time and, don't let it do you. So yeah, things are going to be difficult for her to keep it quiet. Plus she's arrogant. So
yeah,
she seems like, she's got a lot to say. So that's going to be not so good for her. Especially if thinking she's above anyone and she's going to get out and, nothing's wrong. She didn't do anything. Yeah, no.
Janice, I know I think I asked you about this last time, but you're pretty open that after working, not being an inmate, but just working at Lowell, you suffered from PTSD. What were the things that you saw and or heard that traumatized you so much?
Um, wow. A lot of things. Inmate abuse, staff abusing inmates, inmates abusing inmates. Um, the staff at Lowell was like nothing I had ever experienced before. Um, there were times where I'd report something and my supervisor would say, no, we're not going to report this. So you could just get rid of this report. There's times where I've had to use pepper spray. And I remember a lieutenant saying to me, why isn't the can empty? You're not only supposed to spray them 1 second spray like 3 times. It doesn't take much of it to keep you from doing what you were doing, and it will shut your eyes. You can't see, and you're probably going to panic the first time you're sprayed. But the only thing that gets rid of it is when the officers let you decontaminate with water. So, yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, that's
there's a lot. There's a lot. And because I wasn't damning to the inmates, I treated them like human beings. It was quite often I was called an inmate lover. Oh, yeah, I'm an inmate lover. So it doesn't, you don't have to love people just to be a kind person. You don't have to be a jerk every day. You come in to work and yell and scream at everybody and curse them. I mean, wow, you're just not showing them a person that they need to respect. And respect is something that's not demanded, it's commanded in the way that you act. And it's quite often that I think that Florida doesn't do a very good job in teaching their officers how to speak to an inmate. And that's one thing Donna's going to have a problem learning how to speak to an inmate, because you can't speak to people in prison like you can on the street.
This is for Janice, but I'll go to Holly on this one. And you kind of touched on it. Do you think Donna is going to have trouble with other inmates because of the money and potential blackmail and extortion? And then I'll couple it with this question here. Let's start here. Donna's, pride and joy, other than Wendy, is her son Charlie, who's now serving time. It's supposed to be in Florida, but because of his defense, they had to ship him out all the way to South Dakota. Is there any scenario where Donna and Charlie are able to speak on the phone, mother and son? No, correct?
No.
So they will never talk again. I mean, that's coming from a mama's boy. That's actually incredibly sad. But that's what you have to do. You have to pay for the crime that you committed. By the way, I get a panic call from my mother. Just to let you guys in on my life. 3:00, I'm going to pick up my kids at school. Karm made like vats of soup. So while we're gone for the kids, they love soup. She made vats of soup. And then she realized that they didn't have proper lids. The lids did not fit the containers. So she demanded that I come over to her place and take these buckets of soup in my car with my kids back to my house. And I could hear it sloshing around. And my kid is like kicking it. And I'm like, Karm, couldn't you have at least like put saran? She had aluminum foil. It was a long afternoon, everybody, but I've survived. I don't want to, I know we're talking about state prison, but Karm just comes up with these things. The other day I told you, she accidentally deleted her Wells Fargo app, but she thought she deleted her bank account. She thought her money was gone. It ain't going to be easy in these final years with Karm, but she's got a lot of years left ahead of her. 86. She'll be here till she's like 130. And it's going to be challenging. So I'll be sharing these stories as we go through it here. Here's the Leon County Sheriff's Office. This is the intake screening sheet. I can't really read it, COE, because my eyesight is gone, but you get the idea. To you, April, Donna, again, we started this off. Tums. Tums. Can you get Tums in? can can you get Tums in state prison? April?
She's gonna need it with all the beef jerky, I think. Beef
That's exactly why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle. The beef jerky and then the Tums. But can you get Tums in there?
Yeah, that they sell like antacids and Tylenol. You have to buy all that stuff. If you go to sick call, our sick calls are like $5 to $7. So yeah, and they may or may not give it to you. If they think you're the least bit faking, they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, and April, I mean, they don't discriminate. You know, everyone from all socioeconomic backgrounds,
Right.
shapes, colors, everything. They end up in state prison. It just turns out that Donna comes from a lot of wealth and privilege. In what way, if any, is that going to be a problem? Or is she going to be able to buy some sort of security while she's in there, enforcement? How does that money factor play into her stay?
I was in prison with people that were former correctional officers, people that were on their way to be doctors, lawyers. So yeah, you're in there with everyone. Now, she might find someone who's been there for a while or someone who doesn't have anything to lose, one of the louder people, and try to buy some protection. I can see her using her money for that. But as far as buying a friend, no, she might try to buy some protection to keep the people that are saying stuff like, you know, your money didn't do you any good now, you end up in the same place. So to keep those people away, she'll purchase someone who doesn't mind fighting this person or just kind of shutting this person up. She might try to spend her money and use that.
Yeah. Just saying here to Holly, are her telephone calls, I assume the answer to this is 100% yes, are telephone calls monitored and potentially used for evidence on another family member? Holly, anything she says can and will be held against her in a court of law if she's calling from state prison, right, Holly?
Oh yeah, even in federal prison. So everything's monitored. Absolutely. And it's recorded, everything. So yes.
And Holly, what's the biggest difference between federal and state prison? I know Luis Rivera, one of the hitmen, he's in federal prison and he's making the argument to be kept there, which I think they might do because he helped the government out. He does not want to go to state prison. So what is the fundamental difference between state and federal?
Well, my experience, and I can just kind of do county jail to me is what state must be like. So federal prison to me was better conditions, believe it or not, better food. I will say medical is non-existent on either side, but the facility seemed to have better officers. Again, when I was in county, all I can talk about, it was the sheriff's department that ran things, but dealing with the public defendant work that I do, you know, dealing with the state prison and seeing state prisons and going through the facilities completely different. So it's just a step up. If that's saying anything, and it's still, you know, run down. Just, yeah.
Oh,
that's the difference.
Yeah. Janice, I heard a lot of ladies start smoking in prison. Is that true, Janice? Do women pick up bad habits, I guess?
I guess some of them do. I mean, they do smoke in prison. They're not allowed to, but they do.
Where do you smoke in prison? Anywhere? Like, what do you do? You try to get away with it? What
They try to hide in the bathroom, or if they're out on the yard, they'll try to sneak and hide. Maybe back in when people are taking a shower back there, because there's no cameras back in the shower.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to do something, they got 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And if they really want to do it, they're going to do it. Period.
Yeah. And April, you know, we had another inmate on the other day who said that I forget the expression, but the bottom line is that a lot of women find relationships with other women in prison. Is that a thing, like where women want to be in a relationship, so they'll find a woman and keep that person? I forget what it is, something straight at the gate and whatever the other, I don't know what that phrase is.
I mean, if you want to, yeah. It's quite possible. Women are more emotional, so we attach on to people more so that we have more likes than dislikes with, and I think just because we're just emotional creatures.
The COE here, if you could notice, we're actually fighting without saying anything. She keeps putting this comment up, which I have already read, COE, but you are multitasking, so you don't know that. And I keep putting this question up, unless that's Karm, who got control somehow of everything. But what about this, Janice? They can't talk. A few more questions, and then we'll start to get final thoughts. But can Charlie and Donna, can they write letters? If they can't talk on the phone, can Charlie pen a letter to his mother from South Dakota, from one state prison to another?
No,
Why not? That's the law.
it's just their rules. She's not gonna. She'd have to have some special approval because they're not gonna let them write to another inmate. That's just not gonna happen.
This is a good question too, Janice, to you. When you use your tablet, are you limited to who you can contact? Could she speak to other inmates or only approved contact lists? How does that work?
The tablet again is just messaging, and anyone could send her a message if you got an account on Securus. As far as calling her, you have to be on her approved list for people that you can call. But I think now, since I've been gone, they can call additional phone numbers, but they only have like so many on their list that will work in their phone.
By the way, that phrase was, thank you to Rita, gay for the stay, straight at the gate. So that's what I was trying to think of. But misdemeanor OG, Holly, can you get a day planner? They're asking because Donna kept this crazy OCD planner all the time. Is she going to have a calendar above her bed that she's like writing on at night?
I will say this, no, we couldn't receive any type of day planners, diaries, even from the vendor, like from Amazon. We created our own and managed our own on a piece of paper. That's how we were not able to have that.
Yeah. And Holly, I mean, what was it like for you, this transition into prison? I mean, how hard was it on you? Were you like, what did I do? How did I end up here? Was it one of these things? I mean, you had like an end date, right? You knew you were getting out. Donna's got no hope. So that's got to be crazy.
Well, that's number one. It's right there. But no, it was an overwhelming experience going in. Again, I'm one that's more a little outgoing, wanted to talk, and like you never want to reach out your hand to shake an officer's hand. It was just being told, you just shut up and you just respond to when you're asked, or you listen to everything. You need to pay attention to the time. It's very, very loud. The girls are loud. It's just, again, an overwhelming experience. Everything's very regimented. It's very hard. It was very hard.
Yeah. April, to you, what about, in men's prisons, you're always worried about the gangs. I have a friend here who served time. He's a former boxing champion I'm friendly with. And I once asked him, he's like, yeah, we couldn't be friends. And he showed me some like Aryan Nation tattoos. He's like, it's not because I wouldn't want to be your friend. He's like, I just wouldn't be allowed to be your friend. So what's the deal with, are there female gangs, April? How does that affect Donna, if in any way?
No, we don't have as many gangs, female. They're more family structured. Like I said, we're more emotional creatures. They're more of a sister, mother, daughter, just a friend type clique, more clique than gang.
So would you see young women coming in, like when you were in your mid 40s, I guess, would you see these young women who were like former yous, I guess, like what you were when you were younger, and would you take them under your wing and show them like the ropes and what to do and what not to do? Is that something you would do?
If someone brought them to me and felt like they needed to hear something I had to say, there was a couple of kind of organizations entry programs that we had to help people coming into prison. One was called Sister to Sister, and it was to help long-termers when they come in. Some of us that were in the group would kind of bring them in the group, kind of explain how things are going to go, and I guess take them under our wing to a degree to try to help them navigate through the prison.
Janice, a couple more questions, then we'll get final thoughts. I love having these women on. I love people who turn their lives around. It's whatever level you're turning your life around in, whether it's, you're trying to get yourself back on track at school or trying to get yourself back on track in prison, whatever it is, takes a lot of work. Life ain't easy, and nothing is guaranteed. So I admire these women for doing this. Janice, to you, and I think, here you go. Are you limited to time? The COE has a lot of questions. Are you limited, Janice, if you're speaking to an attorney, and if Donna's appellate attorney comes to prison, which I don't think you will, can you sit there and talk to them for 5 hours? Do they put a time limit on it, Janice?
The lawyer's not going to sit there with you for 5 hours. That's just not going to happen. And they have to be announced, when they're coming in to see the person. So generally, if they're coming in, they are checking on her, or because usually they try to do a legal call. They can get on the phone with their client and talk to them over the phone. So that saves the attorney from having to go to the facility. The only time they would go to the facility is if they maybe had something they had to sign, or if they didn't want to talk over the phone that's being recorded about the issue. But if they needed 5 hours, I reckon that somebody could get it arranged. But I've just never seen a lawyer stay that long.
Yeah. Janice, a couple more questions. Like I said, Kingdom Within Us. Do you think the gang members, April just said the gangs aren't nearly as serious as they are in men's prisons, but if there are gang members, one of Donna's son's defense was that the Latin King gangs exploited them. It was a crazy theory for the defense, but they basically picked a fight with the Latin King gang members. I don't know if they're Latina kings in prison, but will there be an element of the gang system that is looking for retribution when it comes to Donna, do you think?
No.
Janice, go ahead. Janice,
go ahead. It's highly unlikely, but I'm here to tell you, as far as gangs go, if they want to reach out and touch you, they're going to. They're going to. There's going to be somebody that's going to get paid to do whatever it is that they want them to do. They're always going to find that somebody. So if that's really their intent, they'll make it happen.
If there is protection, Janice, let's say she wants to get protection, how do you pay? Someone's asking if you can carry cash. I don't even carry cash. My mother screams at me for that, but I don't. We're in a cashless society. Is Donna carrying like a wad of 50s on her, Janice? No, right?
No. If she's paying someone, she is most likely having her husband send money to someone on the outside, who is then in turn going to take the money and send it to someone on the inside. She could pay him with commissary, but that's probably maybe to tide him over. But really, you're getting money from the outside.
I would like to see Harvey's to-do list these days. It must be fascinating. April, a couple of final questions, then we'll get final thoughts. I promise. I keep saying that. But one thing for sure, air conditioning is a problem. Apparently, Lowell doesn't have it, and apparently Homestead doesn't have it. Homestead is south of Miami. It's 90 and humid here every day, starting from April, May through hurricane season. By the way, Homestead got leveled by Hurricane Andrew. But what is it like? I assume this was the same in North Carolina, where it's a little bit cooler. But how tough is it to live without any air in a facility like that?
Oh, I was in the first place I stayed at for 18 and a half years with no air conditioning.
What's it like? You get used to it? Like, how do you stay cool?
Oh, you have to wet your sheets, especially if you're in SEG. You wet your sheets in the sink and set them out on your bed. And hope that the staff comes around and brings you ice like they're supposed to every hour, which they don't, because they're hot and stand in front of a fan. Everybody is, you're so agitated when it's hot. You don't want to think, you don't want anyone touch you. You don't want anybody to speak to you the wrong way. You automatically have an attitude because it is extremely hot.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I mean, I'm always fascinated by this, but how much, and I don't want you to be like modest here or humble, but like, you must be so much smarter like than the average person. And I'm talking like street smarts. Like, I'm serious. Like, you go to like, it's just the things that you've learned and you've done that, I mean, are you always like kind of looking around, like if you go to like a CVS or something, is your head on a swivel? I mean, like, are you always assessing situations kind of like law enforcement does?
I would, I'm very aware. I'm very cognizant of my surroundings. Yes, but not fearful. Just to be aware. It's always good to be present where you are.
Mm. Holly, a final question here, and then we'll get your final thoughts. But as Donna, she's turning 76 in February. What's going to happen to her as she, if she turns 86 or 90, Holly? What's going to happen to her in the prison as she ages?
She's just going to age. It's going to get more difficult. It's going to, medical issues. It's just going to be very difficult for her. I mean, hard for her to survive. Specifically, we talked about the food, it's carb centric. I mean, she's going to get no nutrients as she ages. It's just going to be, maybe eventually they might have to even move her into a medical facility.
And is her lifespan going to be shortened, do you think, Holly, because of her stay? Holly served time for white collar crime. Thank you for being here, Holly. Will her lifespan be shortened significantly? And your final thoughts tonight?
Oh, anybody going through the system, it's going to absolutely age you, and all the things that are happening to her. I mean, at her current age, absolutely, it's going to shorten her lifespan.
Wow. We've got Janice Spears here. She served as a corrections officer for more than 20 years, a couple of them at Lowell, which is really the notorious female prison. Janice, it's going to be a very rough go from what you guys just described for Donna. What are your final thoughts about the prison system for women in general? That you advocate for prisoners and for Donna specifically as she literally starts a life sentence at 75.
One of the biggest things that I think is going on in the prisons right now are two different things. One is they have to serve 85% of their time. This won't apply to Donna, but they're trying to get that percentage reduced. And really, if you have no infractions, and you're doing the things you should do, there's no reason why we couldn't bring that percentage down, which would save the state of Florida a lot of money, because it costs a lot of money to incarcerate women. And the next thing is they have Keefe, who is supplying them with all of their food that they buy in their canteens, and their prices are ridiculous. The prices for the items in the canteen are more than we pay in a convenience store out here in the real world.
Give me an example. Like, what is, I don't know, like a Snickers bar cost in the commissary?
Yeah. I think it's like $1.50 something. Yeah. So everything's just a lot more expensive. And as far as care packages go now, her family 4 times a year could send her a care package. It's through a certain company, and that's only approved items that is allowed to get in. And she might be able to be sent a planner if they send it from a store and it comes in the US mail. And they don't do Amazon. Yeah.
Amazon's not delivering. What about Anthony here? Are there rats in prison? He doesn't mean the people that tell on you. He means rodents. What about that, Janice? Do you see?
Yes, there are rats. There are rats in prison. I was working at Central Florida Reception Center feeding chow, and you could see the rats' tails coming down from the ceiling. So yeah, they do have rodent issues.
I need to, one of these shows, I will hook myself up to an EKG. Whenever my mother says my name, my heart rate spikes, but these shows, my heart rate is definitely elevated, and I'm going to do that one day. By the way, also on the earlier show today, I want to go into every single killer we've ever covered goes into a Home Depot. So my dream is to go into a Home Depot in a full Tyvek suit, looking insane with latex gloves, and see the reaction from people. So I'm going to try to convince the COE to let me do that next week. I'm very immature for my age. It's probably a huge problem, but I'm going to definitely try to do that. Thank you, Janice, for your service as a corrections officer and for advocating on prisoners' behalf. A lot of people, one last thing, Janice, a lot of people will send me hate mail. I love to get that after these shows saying, why are you so nice to inmates? Why are you sensitive to inmates? They committed these horrible crimes. They need to suffer. They say it about Donna. I mean, I don't want Donna to be hurt in prison. I just want her to serve her time. But what's your answer to that about having some sort of empathy or compassion for inmates who've done some of the worst things?
My answer to that is, if God will forgive them, then why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't you?
That's a great answer. I love your dog, man. What's
Thank
the first?
you.
I'm bad with names. Tell me his name or her name.
Wally.
Wally. It's a boy. Look at him. He's just chilling with his bandana. They should, if they let dogs in prisons, it would probably be a lot more mellow. But Wally, hey Wally. Thanks to the guests here for sharing their experiences and being transparent. April, I hope you come back. April Barber Scales, she served more than 31 years. You can tell she is, despite the choices made, you can tell she is inside of there. There's a good person, a very smart person, very capable person. So I'm glad you were able to turn it around. I'm just going to leave it open-ended for you. What are your final thoughts on this show? And welcome to freedom.
Thank you for having me. I mean, I just, no one is the sum of their worst mistakes. Some people got caught and some people didn't.
And let me ask you, like, now that you're out, did you, when you were on the inside, did you set a goal for yourself? Did you say, if one day, by the way, did you have a life sentence? Was for a while, you didn't think you were ever getting out, right?
Yes, I did have a life sentence. Yes.
And how did you live with that notion where there was no end, that this was just going to be it forever? How did you adjust to that?
I always wanted to be a mother to my son. No matter how long it took, I wanted to be able to be free with my son. So that was the driving force. On the darkest days and the worst times, I kept that forefront in my mind, and that's what I focused on.
And now Colt is a Marine training people in the Air Force. How often do you get to see him? You said the relationship's good.
He's in another state. But I mean, I've seen him, I see him when he can. He's busy, and we're both navigating the best way we can. Of course, his job and his life is a little more strenuous than mine, but I'm a recent graduate. I'm an author of 5 books. So there's a lot that I do that he does, but we get together and we see, if nothing else, virtually weekly.
Well, now you just told us about the book. So give us the latest title. Where do we get it?
So the book about the majority of my incarcerated life is called Fenced In, Fighting for Freedom. There's a Memoirs of Susie. That is the book about the relationship I had with my mother. Love Tales, Quotes 365, and 31 Days of Growth and Reflection, all of which are available on Amazon except Love Tales, which is only on Lulu for now.
Wow. Incredible. And are they self-published? You have a publisher?
Well, they had some inmate publishers when I was in, so I wrote all of them while I was inside. And Love Tales, I just released it since I've been out. But so I did a lot of writing. Journaling was my means of escape when I couldn't go outside, when I couldn't just get my thoughts out. That was the way that I turned my pain into purpose. So I turned my life into a legacy that people will be able to read forever.
Wow, incredible. Again, it takes a lot to live, period, but to turn around a life, gone awry. Credit to all of these people. And when I get the hate mail, I will let them know what these guests said about that. But everyone deserves, in my opinion, at least a second chance. And so kudos to these women for turning it around. You got Janice Spears, Holly Coleman, April Barber Scales. I hope you'll all come back. Happy holidays to everybody. Happy New Year's. Off to Tim Jansen's wedding. The COE, by the way, is going to put something in the YouTube community post. If anyone wants to show Tim some love for his daughter's wedding, there'll be a link to the registry there, and feel free. No pressure at all, but feel free. And tomorrow, 8:45 a.m., closings in the Brian Walsh trial. Professor Joe Patuto is going to be here while we're traveling up to Tallahassee. Love you all. Love you, Texas. Love you, Florida. Love you, North Carolina. Go Tar Heels. Michael Jordan, North Carolina. Asheville, I was just at. A very cool place. We'll see you soon. Guests, stick around for one moment.